Over the years, we have been fortunate enough to see many different characters from the comics take up the mantle of Black Panther, and we've seen many different performers take on the role. Today we're going to look back on some of the most epic and strongest versions of this character that we have seen throughout the years as we count down the top 10 most powerful Black Panthers. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. If you love Black Panther not just because he's an awesome superhero, but also for the diversity that he represents, be sure to check out one of our other videos. This one was written by Sasha, Top 10 African Superheroes. Click on up in the corner to find that video, and stick around to the end of this list where I will have some bonus content coming your way. Alright, now let's get counting. Number 10. Kashamba. Kashamba is the Black Panther belonging to the 2099 universe. He first appeared in Marvel Knights Black Panther 2099 issue number 1. Of course, because this comic is from 2004, Wakanda doesn't really appear as advanced as it might now in the modern day in comics. Our advancements just weren't that great yet. In this comic, Black Panther is overthrown by the Doctor Doom of 2099, who looks a lot like the Doctor Doom of the present day. Fortunately, Kashamba ends up avoiding being killed by Doom and inspires his people to rebel against the usurper. They are successful due to Kashamba's leadership and tactical brilliance, but in the end, Kashamba ends up being controlled by Doom, who seems to use Kashamba's Black Panther mask initially to do so. However, it is more than likely that should this story have continued, that Doom's control would be broken at some point, as Wakanda is both a nation rich with technology and magic. Either way, they'd likely figure out what was happening and find a way to break Doom's control. Number 9. Kevin Cole. Kevin Cole is kind of an anti-hero. He's a cop from Harlem, New York, and first appeared in the 1998 Black Panther series in issue number 50. His character was created by Priest and Dan Fraga. He became the Black Panther without any abilities, wearing a bulletproof Black Panther inspired suit in an effort to stand out and get a promotion. When this attracted the attention of the corrupt Lieutenant Sal Anthony, who attacked Cole and his fellow officers, hospitalizing some of them, Kevin realized he needed to do more and actually became a vigilante in order to take down Sal. Later on, Cole would aim to become a proper Black Panther with all of the mystical abilities. Eric Killmonger, however, offered him an easier way than through Wakanda, T'Challa, and the Rite of Ascension, giving him a synthetic version of the heart-shaped herb, which would grant him powers in exchange for Kevin Cole dropping the Black Panther pipe dream and name, instead joining Killmonger's Panther cult and taking up the name White Tiger. Number 8. Azuri. Azuri was T'Challa's grandfather and the father of T'Chaka. He was the leader of Wakanda during World War II and would eventually end up teaming up with Captain America and his Howling Commandos, as well as Nick Fury, to take down the Red Skull and Baron Strucker. He was one of the most deadly Black Panthers we've ever seen, more on guard and less trustworthy of any foreigners that set foot on Wakandan soil during the war. He seems to behave coldly and more ruthlessly when it comes to those he deems enemies. Azuri was more of an independent ruler who believed in not getting involved in the war originally, but eventually came to admire and respect Captain America and the symbol he knew Cap would become for America, seeing similarities between both their positions as national heroes. Number 7. Ngozi. Ngozi is an alternate version of Black Panther from the Venomverse War Stories comic. She was originally a track star whose legs became paralyzed following an accident. She ended up bonding with the Venom symbiote, which gave her the ability to once again walk and use her legs. After the Black Panther was killed by Rhino while attempting to defend her, she convinced the symbiote to join her in taking on the Rhino and defeating him in order to protect not just themselves, but innocent civilians from his wrath as well. The Dora Milaje were inspired by her bravery and named her as the new Black Panther, and this alternate reality T'Challa's successor after her defeat of Rhino and T'Challa's death. Number 6. Black Panther. This is the first Black Panther in known history in the comics. He first appeared in Marvel Legacy issue 1, where it was established that the first Black Panther originated from the Panther tribe. Although we don't know his name, we do know he was one of the first to uncover a vibranium meteor and the power that came from it. He was one of the members of the Stone Age Avengers and was powerful enough to help defeat a Celestial. Number 5. T'Chaka. T'Chaka was T'Challa and Shuri's father. As a ruler of Wakanda, Wakanda, he believed in both preserving and upholding the traditions and magic of their people, while also working hard towards pushing forward with technological advancements. He believed that both ideals could coexist and that a nation should progress but not forget their past or their history. As a ruler, T'Chaka was also bestowed with the powers of Black Panther, granted to him by the heart-shaped herb. As such, he had heightened senses and maintained peak physical condition and capabilities throughout his life. Not quite superhuman, but still above average when it came to his strength, speed, agility, and durability. Basically, think of an Olympic-level athlete. As leader of Wakanda, he also had the strength of the nation at his back, and as a member of the royal family, he was trained at birth to become a skilled leader when it came to combat and diplomacy. Number 4. Eric Killmonger. Eric's story in the comics is a little different from the one that we saw in the MCU. Instead, he is very much a victim who was manipulated and turned into a villain by the traitorous Ndemwe and Ulysses Claw. In fact, it was Claw himself who originally gave him the name Eric, and encouraged him to discard his true Wakandan name of N'Jindaka, forcing Eric to treat Claw as his true master. This made Eric resentful, and eventually N'Jindaka rose up against his captors, killing Ndemwe and abandoning Claw. Eric would end up adopting the name Claw gave to him to blend in. Eventually, Eric would find his way back to Wakanda and would begin to secretly plot to overthrow King T'Challa, becoming one of his greatest enemies. Eric himself has become a powerful adversary to Wakanda and even an emperor in his own right of the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. He not only has had the power of Black Panther, but is also intelligent, boasting a PhD in neuroscience and engineering. Also, every time Killmonger dies in the comics, he always seems to come back. So while he's not immortal in terms of abilities, plot-wise, he kinda is. Number 3. T'Challa. T'Challa is the most well-known iteration of Black Panther in the present day, especially now that we have the MCU version of him. But while some might focus on his fighting prowess, which is impressive, it should also be noted that T'Challa has also been granted supernatural powers since he became King of the Dead. He has necromancy skills and also has developed multiversal senses and awareness thanks to Galactus. Not only is T'Challa powerful in terms of his superpowers, but he is also known for his brilliant mind, which earned him his place in the Illuminati. Many may think of Shuri as the brains of the family thanks to her depiction in the MCU, but T'Challa is actually known for being just as brilliant, if not more, in the comics. He has a photographic memory and is also a master of physics, as well as a field that he created himself and discovered, known as shadow physics. He's super smart. Number 2. Shuri. Shuri has always been passionate about becoming the first female Black Panther in Wakandan history. She is not only powerful because of how determined she is, but because of how hard she has worked towards that goal. She is determined, bold, brave, and strong-willed. Her half-brother himself trained her for this purpose, in case she was ever called upon to take his place, which of course ended up happening, making her the Queen of Wakanda and Black Panther in T'Challa's stead. At one point they were even both Black Panther. It was her determination and strong will that helped her to become such a spirited and skilled fighter. Shuri is also a genius, a brilliant inventor, and a skilled tactician and diplomat. She has also been gifted with supernatural abilities which allow her to change shape, size, and raise the dead. Number 1. MCU T'Challa. One of the most powerful versions of Black Panthers when we are looking at impact is T'Challa from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This isn't just because of how powerful that character is, how he manages to balance both the traditional and technologically advanced aspects of Wakanda like his father T'Chaka did in the comics, always doing his best as a ruler, a king, and a hero for his nation, but also for the world. It's also because of his growth through the Black Panther film. He is powerful and wise enough to see that one day a change is not only going to come, but needs to come. He is brave and strong enough to see that it is time for him to listen to those around him and share the truth about the power of Wakanda with the world. T'Challa does not let fear blind him in the end. He's not only powerful, but he's inspirational. Add in the fact that we had Chadwick Boseman portraying him in the film, and it only adds to the character's power. He was an amazing performer who always committed to each role that he took on. Chadwick Boseman was the one to develop the dialect of Wakanda, studying various different languages and dialects from across Africa to come up with it. It was also so well received that it became adapted by the rest of the cast when Black Panther came about. This wasn't just a man who played a hero on screen, but he became a hero in his own right, questioning and fighting against stereotypical roles for people of color and using his own voice to raise up and acknowledge everyday heroes. From playing real-world historical heroes to acknowledging James Shaw Jr., who saved lives by wrestling a gunman out of a Waffle House in Nashville, Tennessee during a mass shooting. Yeah, that's a thing that happened. Boseman gave away his award for Best Hero at the 2018 MTV Awards to Shaw, calling him up on stage with him to accept the award, acknowledging him as a real-life hero. If there is such a thing as people who are too good for this world, Chadwick Boseman was likely one of them. Thank you so much for watching, Nerd Squad. What has been your favorite version of Black Panther that you've seen so far? Which do you think is the most powerful and why? Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, but before I go, I asked some of you fine folk on my Twitter and here on our community page to reach out with how exactly the story and character of Black Panther, as well as that of Chadwick Boseman, have inspired you. And here's what you had to say. Zachary Cardick comments, "Hi Amanda, the Black Panther story inspired me in fighting for what's right. Chadwick Boseman inspired me to make the most of my time while I still live on this planet, even if I know my time here is very limited. Chadwick also inspired me to take nothing for granted." Reina Ramirez writes, "I personally love the fact that whenever he visited ill children, he was T'Challa. He was strong in front of them so that they could be strong. Never did he reveal that he was sick too or made it about him. R.I.P. CB. Simeon Harden shares, "Black Panther inspired me as a young black man a lot. He was a man that knew every language, studied every science, and created his own science. He knew every fighting style and created his own Panther style. He cared about his people, his wife, his son. He was also one of the most intellectual minds in the MCU, and I believe I can do everything he's done. Chadwick was inspiring not only for bringing that character to life for me, even though the movie didn't represent it too well, but also by not playing into these stereotypical characters in movies. They always like to show every character he played had an impact on the world, and he did them all while battling cancer." Wow, such touching stories and thoughts from so many of you. Thank you so much for sharing your feels and your inspirational moments with me and the Top 10 Nerd crew. They have really been sweet to read, and please keep posting them, I'll keep reading them. Rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. Thank you for giving us all these incredible stories. Now, let's make sure that we take stock of our lives every day and make sure we're doing our best to use our own power for good, to rise others up, to take care of one another, and to inspire change. Wakanda forever.